if I traded it all.
My next guest is Tracy Krall, and she is the owner of Krall Law Office. Great time for you to come on because you do family law. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. Thank you for that. And I got to tell you, everybody was holding on tight because they want the gift, they want to have a nice New Year's, and now they're ready.
They are ready. Two things generally fuel the onset of family law cases in January. One is a new beginning, and the second is tax refunds. Now they have money to pay their filing fee or hopefully an attorney to help them with their family law case.
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about yourself.
I'm an attorney, a family law attorney. I've been practicing for 19 years in Phoenix. I'm a solo practitioner, so to me that means I answer my own phones, I lick my own envelopes, I greet my clients, do consultations, I prepare the pleadings, and of course I do legal representation in the courtroom.
Right. Now, why should people, and I'm just going to do this to you right now,
okay,
because you have to, I have to, okay? So why should people not try and do this on their own?
Well, we do have forms available, the do-it-yourself kits or forms that are available through the Maricopa County Superior Court Self-Service Center. You can get those online if you're savvy with the computer, or you can go down to the courthouse and buy the packets. But let me tell you, those forms are a little complex, and I'm an attorney saying that. So they're confusing. You're already emotionally charged as a family law litigant. So you can make big mistakes in those forms, especially if you're dealing with children or complex assets that need to be divided.
Okay, family law. People automatically think divorce. Is that the case?
Well, family law encompasses other areas of practice as well. Divorce, legal separations, we do relocation cases, paternity, if the parties aren't married and have a child out of wedlock. We do custody, parenting time, grandparents' rights, the occasional prenup or postnup thrown in for good measure. But
right.
Yeah.
Now, your phone number is 602-443-8284. Your website is Krall, and that's spelled Krall?
Correct.
Familylaw.com. Can you help anyone from anywhere? And how do you usually work with them? Do they call you? How does it work? What's that first phone call usually like?
I try to stay in Maricopa County primarily for the reason is that most courts have local rules in addition to their regular statutes. And yeah, I do cases in Yavapai and Pima and Pinal County, but I tend to stay in Maricopa County because I'm more familiar with the local rules there, and sometimes that's better. The client would normally call me for a consultation. I would get them in. It's informative. I give a very thorough consultation. It's not just a sales pitch to hire me. I give them actual information, and I let them decide whether or not they can afford an attorney or whether or not they want to try and do the forms on their own, but at least arm them with the knowledge to go forward in family court.
Again, that number is 602-443-8284. It's Krall, Krall, familylaw.com. So why should someone file a modification, so let's say for child support or an order of custody, child custody?
For a modification of child support, perhaps incomes have changed, or perhaps when the initial orders were existing, a child needed daycare and now the child is school age, so that daycare expense would not be in existence anymore. So that would be a good reason to change child support. You can modify child support anytime there's a substantial change of circumstance. People tend to think that you have to wait a year. Not true. Anytime there's a substantial change. With regard to custody, maybe you've moved closer to the child's school, so you maybe need more parenting time, or unfortunately maybe the opposing parent has now an alcohol problem or a substance abuse problem, and you need to go in and have the initial orders relooked at because circumstances have absolutely changed.
Okay, that is for child support. What about the other side of it, for alimony? Because circumstances can change there too.
They can. So alimony in Arizona, well, our fancy name for it is spousal maintenance, but it's really alimony, can be deemed non-modifiable by the parties by agreement, or it can be modifiable. If it's non-modifiable, you're stuck with it no matter what. The duration and the amount, stuck with it. If it's modifiable, you really have to show a change of circumstance. In my opinion, it's very difficult to get that modified. Unless someone has won the lottery or something, the spouse is probably still going to need the support for the duration that the court ordered.
Okay. Now, your phone number again, it's 602-443-8284. Krall. It's Krall, familylaw.com. We all know that you've been waiting and holding on tight. It's now the new year, and you are ready. You know, a lot of people do that.
A lot of people
A
do
lot
that.
of people do that. And this is information for you. And if it's not you, you know someone who needs to maybe get an attorney who's possibly, you know, going to get a divorce. Do you do mediation at all?
I don't.
Okay.
There's mediation training. Anyone can be a mediator here in Arizona. And I will say most attorneys and judges, of course, promote settlement. We're not trying to run to trial. So just because I don't do mediation does not mean I don't try to settle a case. I absolutely do. But I don't specialize in mediation or...
Right. I just want to ask, is a lot of people are sort of kind of going in that direction? Well, in terms of this, how long do family court litigants have to wait for a trial date if their case does not settle and if they need to see a judge to decide the issues?
So the courts here are jam-packed with cases, unfortunately. So depending on the assigned judicial officer, you might wait 3 to 5 months for a trial date. And I would like to add that...
I thought you would say longer.
No, I mean, well, 3 to 5 months, you're already in the process for probably 6.
Okay.
By the time you get a trial date, it's 3 or 5 months out from there. And I will also say that the trial date is usually 1, 2, or 3 hours. So you can be unraveling a 30-year marriage in a 3-hour time period. There's 2 parties, so that means you only have half the time each. So that is a lot of information to present to a judge. And if you're self-represented, you're emotional, and your opposing party might have triggered you, or they might have waltzed in with an attorney. So it's really beneficial to hire an attorney who is knowledgeable and rational and is going to present relevant information to the court that they can use to make a decision in your case.
Once you've done that, let's say they did it on their own, it got botched, do they have a second chance?
Not really. They would have to file an appeal, and I will say that there are no do-it-yourself forms for appeals, so you'd have to find an appellate attorney. It's a pretty specialized area, and you're probably going to pay him or her twice the amount that you'd pay a regular litigator to go in and do the case right the first time.
You know, a lot of people try and do these things on their own. I just don't think it's a real good idea. I think it's a good idea to call, talk to them, find out what they can do for you. The phone number is 602-443-8284. 8284. Write it down. And if it's not for you, give it to someone else. Again, it's Krall, Krall, FamilyLaw.com. And I've never been asked this before, so I get to ask the first time in 8.5 years. Are divorce proceedings open to the public?
Yes, they are.
What does that mean?
Well, if you're over 18 years old, anyone can go in and watch any of the family court proceedings. So all your dirty laundry can be aired in front of the public.
Wow.
Yeah, just open to the public. So if you have a family court case and you have an assigned judge, you might want to go down and just sit in the courtroom and take a listen to how he or she runs his calendar if you're going to be self-represented. It gives you some background information.
Wow, and it could be very juicy.
It could be. Very Jerry Springer, yes.
Yes. Okay, so if self-represented litigants do not like the judge ruling, their ruling, can they ask for another hearing to correct the judge?
Well, again, we're back to the appeal situation. There is a motion for reconsideration that you can file that you're basically saying to the judge, I think you got it wrong. Most judges aren't inclined to say that they got it wrong. So, again, your next level would be an appeal. So, again, the real push is to get it right the first time and hire an attorney if you can. Not every attorney is completely out of price. I offer very competitive rates and payment plans. So don't automatically think that if you have low funds that you can't afford an attorney, because that's just not true.
And I like the way that you said that when you work with people, you talk to them to find out whether or not they could actually use you, but you also can help them with possibly dealing with doing the forms at least on their own.
Absolutely. I've reviewed forms for parties. I've told them where to get it. I've handed them forms. My job is just to help them get through their case, and again, it's already emotional for them, so just trying to get a little bit of sanity into the picture for them.
How about people that have already been through a divorce, okay, like me, and now the parties are gone on and the kids are turned 18,
Right.
There's no money involved now, really, but usually money comes up along the way. I mean, it comes up, issues come up. After you're done with your divorce is actually finalized, but then issues come up. Can you help with them?
Well, nothing's really modifiable except for child support and custody and visitation. If the assets and debt distribution in your divorce decree, that's it. So you can't go back and reopen that later. You're not required to put your kids through college, so child support stops at 18.
What about if somebody's taking their kids out of state?
Relocation's very difficult in Arizona.
And you said you do that.
I do.
Okay. And again, write the number down. This is something that you may need for yourself. It also may be somebody that you know. The number is area code 602-443-8284. That website is Krall. It's Krall, familylaw.com. Guys, networking, it's what it's all about. So it's not for you, it's for someone else. Tell them about it. That's what it's all about. I just want to say happy birthday to my father. It was his birthday today. I wanted to say that to him. He's up in heaven right now. Thanks for everybody for listening to the show, and Happy New Year to all of you out there.
It's nothing I planned.